Good.
All the time.
Okay, here we go. September is Black Girls Equity Month. And so what does that mean? It means a variety of things. It really means it's a time to celebrate, but it's also a time to focus on some of the issues facing our young girls. And there are a plethora of issues. Dr. Kathi Elliott is the CEO of Gwen's Girls, and Kim Booth is, let me make sure I get this right, she's the Assistant Chief Probation Officer, Juvenile Court, and we're talking about all of the events that are happening this month. And Dr. Elliott, one of the things that we've seen over the last couple of years is there's always a report that you guys tend to release during this time, and I'm guessing this year there is no exception. Yes?
Absolutely. That's what we focus on, is trying to really look at what the problems are. And that's through the Black Girls Equity Alliance. And I can't express enough the gratitude that I have for the people that come and show up to these different work group meetings. And specifically, the Juvenile Justice Working Group has been, gathering data, taking a deep dive to really understanding where that school to prison pipeline, where the referrals are coming from to juvenile probation. And so it's been a collaboration with juvenile probation for many years. They've been looking at this disproportionate rate of Black children being referred and being in their system. But it's through that collaboration that we wouldn't be where we are today without, them, opening up and understanding that there is an issue.
And Kim, I'm guessing that often people don't recognize that what is happening to our kids at this particular moment in their lives has the potential to affect them for the rest of their lives. So the decisions that are being made right now are long-term. It's not just a moment. It is a lifetime decision.
It is. When youth come into our system, we do our best, right, through evidence-based practices to give them what it is that they need in terms of any kind of support, placements, whatever it is that they need, we try to give that to them. So we try to make good decisions. So youth that don't need to be in the system, we divert them from the system as best we can based on our practices. We practice evidence-based practice, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, much like the medical field, the education field. They've done research in their field to say, what works? What do we need to do to make it better? So we've built a framework around evidence-based practices using our juvenile justice enhancement strategies. And we use those strategies like the BITS and the YOS and different things so that we only deal with the most serious kids in the system and try to divert other youth from the system. And so we've long known that there's been this disproportionate numbers for African-American kids in this system. And we were able to start a program back in the 90s called the Community Intensive Supervision Program.
And I know it's interesting because in the last commercial break, we were talking about, some of the things I do on the radio. And I know not too terribly long ago, we were having a conversation on the radio show about whether or not there's a role or how police officers function within our city school system, within schools. And the callers were all over the place about whether or not we needed police in schools, we didn't need police in schools. But much of the conversation focused on how interaction with police officers in schools can affect a child forever. If it's a good interaction, it can be a positive impact. If it's a bad interaction, it can be life-changing.
And that's been one of the arguments, or one of the things that, people have said when we are calling for a divestment of funds from police to more of supports in the schools. And me, of all people who grew up in a law enforcement household and know all about the importance of having a law enforcement officer be a part of the community. You know, in my house, like, it wasn't unusual to have a kid come and stay with us, or, you know, we have foster brothers and sisters. So, you know, I understand how there's certain police officers and even school police, you know, take on a role that oftentimes, you know, is of that support. But that's not what we're talking about here. You know, clearly, again, that there is a high rate of Black children being referred to the juvenile justice system. And we've taken a look at the data, and that's what the report will reflect, that there are often charges that are subjective, that come in the category of disorderly conduct. Those are things that Kim and, you know, the probation department really don't deal with, right? And there's really no reason from what we are seeing that these kids should not be receiving some type of diversion or other type of support in the community, and instead of criminalizing the behavior, to actually provide some supports around it and correct it in that type of way.
And I'm guessing, and before we take a break, I'm hoping that you can both weigh in on this. I'm guessing that the issues facing girls are just different. The issues facing girls are different than the challenges, the issues facing boys.
They are. And one of the things that this report will reflect is, I just talked about that subjective category of disorderly conduct. A lot of times people have seen, and that's again ties into the See the Best of Me campaign, this, you know, September being Black Girls Equity Month, and showing the positive sides of them, is that many people, you know, see an incident that happens with a Black girl and it automatically gets criminalized, right? And so we have seen in the data where it could be the same behavior that a white girl, you know, commits, and she is not introduced to the juvenile, or referral is not made. There's other, you know, things that are offered to her besides this referral or a citation, or all those different mechanisms that we can show leads to what we talk about, the school to prison pipeline. People use that as a cliche, but this report reflects specifically in numbers what that means here in the city of Pittsburgh and in Allegheny County.
I feel like I need to take a breath.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. We'll take a commercial break. We have a lot more to talk about when the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show continues, so don't go away.